Hello, class, and welcome to Arithmetic once again. I'd like us well, first of all, let me just say that you're going to start seeing a lot of review pages from now to the end of the year as we just continue to review the things that we have learned so far, but particularly the things that are more recent in our assignments. We want to definitely review those. I have a few things on the board. Some of these are things that some of us missed on our tests, so I definitely want to review those as they will continue to be on your paper, and then go over a few other things too. So let's look right here for what I've written on the board, and hopefully you can still see me. I tried to get it where it was close enough that you could still make out what was on the board, and I tried to write big as well. One thing, we all know how to add, don't we? But just being careful to get the correct number. And also, you see these? There are decimal points in these. First thing I would do is I would put my decimal point right there in my answer so I don't forget at the end. Just put a decimal point there and make sure you do it. And then just add them together. 7 plus 3, 10 plus 11, plus 1's 11, right? Carry the number. We have a 1, which makes 5. 4 more makes 9, all right? 9 plus 8, 17, 23. Hopefully I got it right. And sometimes when you put it first, though, of course, I should have put it a little bit lower maybe. But there it is, 239.1. Don't forget your decimal point. Here's another thing I like to draw your attention to. 19.321. Written as a decimal, and the instructions may say write it as a fraction. So I'm going to take my 19, that's the whole number, and 0.321. How many places past the decimal are there? 3. Well, I'm going to make that the numerator, 321. You can see that. And then the denominator, how many numbers are there? 3, so there'll be 3 zeros, 1,000. 321 thousandths, put my comma. 19 and 321 thousandths. How do I know that? 10th, 100th, 1000th, right? Thousandths. Now, one thing I want to point out, there are a few of you that put a decimal point there. It's either a decimal or a fraction, not both. So don't put a decimal point there. If it says to write it as a fraction, write it as a whole number or fraction. In this case, there's a whole number and a fraction. In this case, there's a decimal point, a whole number, and everything on this side is the part of another number, 19.321, or 19 and 321 thousandths. But don't put a decimal point there. I wanted to bring your attention to that and make sure we correct that. 12 times 1/3. 12 times 1/3. Let's review this. Before we multiply a whole number by a fraction, we need to make them both fractions. A whole number, in order to make it a fraction, will make it an improper fraction so that we can multiply. So we're simply going to put a 1 in the denominator and then multiply, and then you'll get it correct. Now, look to see if you can cancel, right? 1s we don't worry about. They're going to be the same anyway. 12 and 3. Yes, can 3 go into 12? It can, can't it? So we're going to use our 3. 3 goes into 3 one time, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. 4 times 1 equals 4. And then, of course, it's just 1. Don't forget at the end, divide your denominator into the numerator to make it a whole number. And then, of course, the answer's 4. And I'm going to circle it. Circle your final answer. Please, especially the way things are right now, where you may just have a piece of notebook and there's all these numbers all over the page. if you would circle the final answer so I can easily tell what the answer is, that will help me out a bunch, okay? So 4/1, don't just go to the next number. That's still improper. You've got to make it into a whole number. 1 can go into 4 whole times, right? 4 times. Now let's take a look at this one. I'm going to multiply. In this case, they're both fractions, right? All right. So what do we need to do? Before we multiply, let's make sure we cannot cancel or can cancel. And we can. There are 2 numbers there across the way. Therefore, we can cancel. They're ones, aren't they? Because 5 goes into 5 one time and 5 can go into 5 over there one time. 1. How about this way? Can we cancel this way? Yes. A number always can go into itself, right? Divide into itself. Can 2 go into 8? Yes. 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 goes into 8 4 times. Anything divided by 2 is just half the number. All right. 1 times 1, 1. 4 times 1, 4. The answer, I circle 1, 4. All right. So just make sure you're being careful. I think you understand how to do it, but there were some that were getting some of those wrong. Now, there's one I want to write on the board. There's one more I want to write on the board, but I wanted to make sure we had plenty of room before I wrote it. So let's write this one on the board. Now, look at this very carefully. Look, 123. There was one like this on your test. 144. This is not the same number, but something like this. 157. And then there was a fraction, something like 9/10 and 3/4. But then the bottom one, there wasn't a fraction, it was just a whole number. That's all right. Just add the ones that are there. And that's just nothing, there's just nothing there. All right? So we can add these, but we cannot add them yet, can we? We've got to find our common, well, I should say least common multiple denominator for this. So we have a 10 and we have a 4. So what number is it going to be? And hopefully you said what? Yes, 40 would be a number they both can go into. So we're going to use 40. Because if you keep going up, you could go to 15 or 20 or 25 or, and in order to get one, we need to find a number where they can both go into a 4 and a 10. It's going to have to be 40. 4 goes into 40 10 times, right? 10 times 3, 30. 10 goes into 40 4 times. 4 times 9, 36. Did you get that at home? Is that what you said? Now we're going to add them. Again, there's nothing there. That's okay. 6 plus 0, 6. 3 plus 3, 6. And the denominator stays the same. Now, is this a proper fraction? No, it's not. So we need to make it a proper fraction, all right? If it were 40 over 66, that would be entirely different, wouldn't it? You just reduced the problem. It would be proper. But the denominator must always be greater than the numerator. So this is what we do. 40 goes into 66 one time. 40, we have 40. So how many more will make 66? 40, 50, 60, and then 6, which is 26. 26 over 40. All right? Now, did you follow me? If you weren't sure how to do that, you could always divide the old-fashioned way with your division box like we do, but see if you can get it to where you can get it in your head now. Now this needs to be reduced, doesn't it? So always work the fraction out first, then we can do the whole numbers, and that part's easier. So we're going to work the fraction part out. We still have to reduce this though, don't we? So what number can we do? If you're not sure, if they're even numbers, you can always divide by 2, right? And maybe you do, maybe you don't know. What is half of 26 if you divide by 2? It's 13. And half of 40 is 20. And we know that can't be reduced because 13 is a very odd number, isn't it? So 1 and 13/20ths is our mixed number that we get. You see that? Now let's do our whole number. 7, 3 plus 4, 7 plus 7, 14. Carry my 1. 1 plus 2, 3. Plus 4, 7. Plus 5, 12. Tell me if I'm wrong. 1 plus 1, 2, plus 1, 3, plus 1, 4. 424. Did I get it right? I would like to double check myself, especially when I'm on a video, right? 424 should be the right answer. All right. Now we've got our 1 and 13/20ths left, right? We have a whole number and a fraction we have to add to it. So let's add our whole number and fraction. And don't forget to add the whole number and fraction. Add that whole number, all right, to it. 425 and 13/20ths. I've seen a lot on these ones like this where they just add their 13/20, or they put 424 and then they write 1 and 13/20ths. And they just kind of circle all that together. No, you have to combine it. You have to add it to it. And that's the final answer. So you can tell that's a 2. Okay, any questions on those? Understand? If not, let me know and I will help you. Now let's go to what is more recent, and that is this. We have some geometry, all right? Now, if I just said L equals 25 and W equals 18, what geometric shape is that? Even if it doesn't say, you know what shape it is, don't you, based on what they gave you? A length and a width. Are they the same length and width? No. We've learned that that means what? Rectangle. You see that little, I put 2 little sticky notes together. You like that? And it made a rectangle on there. If this is our rectangle, what we're really saying is, and I'm going to go like this, okay? I'm going to go one side would be 25, and then the other side's 18. So this length here is 25, and maybe that's 18, just for sake of illustrating and visualizing what we're doing here. But what's our formula? We know this is a rectangle because there's a length and a width. There's a length side and a width side. Okay, hope that's showing up. It is a light color. Okay, so the length's 25, and of course the width is 18. So what did we say we could do? We could do P equals length plus width plus width. So we could simply add up 25 here, 25 there, 18, 18, and have 4 different ones. 25 plus 18 plus 18. And we would figure out the answer that way. And we put P equals, right? And we put our answer. Or we could do our other formula. P equals, which means perimeter, equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, W. And I like this formula. I just like that one. P equals 2 times 25. Can you see that okay? Plus 2 times 18. See? What is 22 times 25? Hopefully you know that one's 50. Okay? 18 times 18. If you need to, do some figuring over there, that's okay. You'll end up with 36. And then I'm going to move this now. So P equals 50 plus 36. You'll add them together. Maybe you can go like that if you need to. 86. 86 what? P equals 86 feet. If they give it to you in feet, write feet. Yards, write yard. Does everyone see what I did there? Or you could go 25 plus 25 plus 18 plus 18 and have a big addition problem. And that's all right. You could do it that way too if you wanted to. All right. Now, I'm going to wipe off the board here like this. Can't see it. And I wrote another one there and it got a little bit wiped off there, but that's okay. Let's see. I think that was a 13. You see that okay? S equals 13 yards. What geometric shape am I talking about? What other shape have we talked about that we're solving perimeter for? Yes, we are talking about a square, aren't we? So I'm going to take my sticky note and I'm going to take part of it off. And now I have a square. I have a square right there. See that? There's my square. And probably should get a darker little post-it note. It might show up a little better, but you can make that out, right? There's a square there. So in a square, all the sides are what? Equal. So we only need to know one side and we can solve our problem. P equals, what's the formula? 4 times S for square. So you'll memorize P equals 4 times S. Or P equals S plus S plus S plus S, where you'd add them all up. So essentially, it's like this. There's 13 here, 13 on this side, 13 on this side, 13 on this side. But it's redundant to have to, you only need to know one side, right? And once you know the one side, you can figure out all the sides. So you could simply, you could do that, or you could do S plus S plus S plus S. To me, it's easier just to go 4 times S. 4 times S, or 4 times 13. And there's our P equals, right? All right. So now what? Well, we can simply multiply 13 times 4. 3 times 4, 12. 4 plus 1, 5, right? And so I'll erase this now. Here we keep going with our formula. P equals 52. Now here's what's going to happen. You're going to move right on to the next problem. But what have I forgotten to do? I haven't really forgotten, but what do I still need to do? I need to put what was it given to us in, and I erased it already. You remember what it was that was down here to start with? 52 yards, I believe is what I had written. 52 yards, and then you put the answer. So again, Rewatch this video if there was something that you have not done correctly, and go ahead and do lesson 156. Again, most of those things are going to be a review. I want to just make sure you understand how to do everything. You do well, you take care, you be careful as you work, and do a super fantastic job. And whatsoever you do it heartily as unto the Lord, and have a fabulous day. And be looking for the next video.